Okay, they mean, when it's just the Google Translate.
Okay.
Outside your house, there is a place where you. Oh my goodness, I don't know how to say that in English, but
Like a
it's
porch?
not the street. It's not the road where the cars where you drive your car. Is
Yeah.
the for pedestrians
Oh, a sidewalk. Sidewalk.
sidewalk. My
Okay.
God, sidewalk.
Hola, bienvenidos a mi canal de YouTube. Por fin tengo lista la entrevista. Tengo mi entrevista con mi realtor o mi corredor de bienes raíces, mi agente de bienes raíces, o sea, la persona que me ayudó tanto a mi esposo como a mí a conseguir el apartamento en el que estamos viviendo ahora y que les puedo asegurar les va a dar todos los tips necesarios y toda la asesoría para poder alquilar o comprar un apartamento o una casa acá en Toronto. Él es experto en esta zona en Dowtown Toronto. Entonces, sin más preámbulos, los invito a que disfruten de esta entrevista que además es en inglés. No me quedó a mí tan bien que se diga. Entonces, si ustedes quieren alquilar o comprar un inmueble acá en Toronto, este es el video para ustedes. Y si no, igual véanlo para que se rían de mí haciendo la entrevista. Em,
Okay, well, Jack, welcome to this conversation.
Yeah. Thank you for
Yeah, thank you for your time. For everyone who's here wondering, what is this about? What are they going to talk about? We're going to talk about real estate. How did I find my apartment and how can you find your apartment? And in that matter, the most important thing for me is to find a good person to help you with that, a professional. And guess what? This is my friend because now he's a friend. This is my friend Jack who helped us through all this process. It was easy because of him, but it can be stressful. So welcome Jack, the best in the city.
Thank you. And yeah, I just wanted to reiterate what you said. Yeah, we've become friends, and I think that's part of the process that's enjoyable is when you get to know the people you're working with and become friends with them. Then when you go out and see properties, it does make it a little less stressful and you enjoy it a little bit more. And that helps with the whole process for sure.
And Jack has a gift. I think that is a gift because we came here, as most of you already know, we came here with Osvaldo, my husband, who has, thanks God, a good job, and they gave us an agency, people who can help us with this process. But suddenly a friend said, oh, but you should meet my realtor. And we said, well, okay, let's do this. And that first day, we both were in love with you. We loved you literally. We were like, oh my gosh, he's great. And I said, he can be your friend to my husband. He said, yeah, totally. He can be my friend. It's unbelievable. All Canadians are like that. Well, now we know it's not the truth. It's just you are unique.
Well, thank you very much.
But
Yeah, I mean, right off the bat, you and Osvaldo and yourself obviously had a lot in common. I think the baseball thing was great with Osvaldo. He's such a huge baseball fan, so was I. So I was just right away. So that was fantastic.
So yes, that's why we are here together. This is the first time I do an interview or I even speak with someone totally in English with a camera recording. So it is, oh my God. I'm sorry if I make a mistake, but you can help me. Jack, let's talk about first a little bit of your experience. How long have you been working as a realtor? How is the short story? Because I know there are a lot of things to say about you.
Yeah. So I've been working for 10 years in real estate, born and raised in Toronto. So I know these streets well. I mean, this is where I grew up. I played, as I just mentioned, I'm a baseball fan, but I also played baseball. So played baseball. I actually went to school in the U.S. To play ball. And then when I came back to Canada, my grandmother owns a brokerage. So it was something that I've been around for a long time. I always tell people I was watching her do deals on on Christmas morning and Christmas Eve and all these big holidays. She was always working, and that's just what she enjoyed doing. And I think that kind of got ingrained in me at a young age. And I think different people, different agents enjoy real estate for different reasons. Mine is definitely the people aspect, meeting different people, getting to know them. I think it's important to get to know them, to really fully understand what they are looking for. So that just comes naturally, because I do just naturally ask a lot of questions because I'm curious about people and their situation. And then from that, I can take the information, and I think I can narrow in on properties that I think they'll really be interested in. So 10 years in the business, and it's been great. I love it.
Yeah, and you are very good at your job. It was the best pick you could ever do. Yeah.
Glad you feel that way.
Okay, starting to talk about our business here. Do you have or are you part of a corporation? Do you work by yourself? How is it?
We're considered independent contractors, but we do work for a brokerage. So my partner Brent and I, we have our own team called the Cherry and Mangano team, and we are under the umbrella of our brokerage is Sage Real Estate. And they're fantastic. They provide us with a lot of support, and they allow us to just be out. They do all the behind the scenes things for us, so we're able to be out with our clients, showing properties, and doing what we do best, which is buying and selling real estate.
Great, that's perfect. You're always busy, huh?
There are downtimes throughout the year. Christmas, around that time, it really dies down. So December, there's not a lot going on. And then interestingly enough, August actually is historically a slower month. And the reason being, Canadians love to go to their cottages in the summer.
Yes. Now I know that.
Yeah. With our winters, we just get a lot of pent up energy. So when summer comes, there's a lot going on, and people just really want to be outside. And we have beautiful lakes just north of Toronto. So a lot of people have cottages up there. And because once September hits, kids are back in school, work starts ramping up again. So a lot of people use August as a time to just kind of relax. But those other times throughout the year, spring and fall market, I'm going. I mean, this week I was staging a property. I actually just came from photos from there, so I've been doing 9 to 10 p.m. days all week. It's just part of the process of getting the property ready and onto the market.
Yeah, so we can say that even with this situation that we have with the virus, now you are back on track. You are working as usual. Is that working as usual?
There's definitely, we have put in some procedures in place, certainly to be safe. When it first hit, we shut things down, all operations. We advised our clients to hold back unless there was an absolute need. If you obviously can't allow someone to be homeless, so if they were caught in a situation where they had to find a place, that was the only reason you could go and help them. But as kind of things have started to, the restrictions have been taken back a little bit, now we are able to be out there. We still have to see properties. We have to sign waivers saying we haven't traveled, haven't shown any symptoms. So the agent and the clients both have to sign, and then we have to wear masks and hand sanitize as well when we go into property. So we're trying to be as safe as we can while doing business.
That's good. That's perfect. So, well, my first question, I have a lot of questions. I don't know if I will be able to answer all of them. Thank you guys for asking questions in my Instagram, because this is going to be a very good interview. Thanks of all of you. So, the first one, having a realtor to help with your search for your home or apartment, do you have to pay for it? Do we people need to pay for it, or it is exclusive? Because in Latin America, we usually have many people to help us and we pick just the best. But I believe here is different. Can you have more than one? How much it costs? It is exclusive?
Okay. So yes, to talk about how the realtor gets paid. So you as a buyer don't have to pay your agent. When you find a property and purchase a property, the commission is paid by the seller. So the seller pays all commission, and that's also even in renting. That's the same case. The landlord pays the commission. So they pay the commission for both sides, their agent that's representing them and the agent that brings in the buyer or the tenant. So typical, it's a bit different province to province here in Canada, but here in Toronto, standard commission is 5% total. So 5% of the purchase price. So 2.5% goes to the listing agent that's representing the seller, and 2.5 goes to the buyer agent that's representing the buyer.
Great.
And in terms of can you have two realtors looking for you? You can. There's most agents will have you sign a buyer rep. So when you sign a buyer rep, there's certain things in that agreement that specify the search. So you'll have a location. For instance, you could say, I have this agent that I'm signed up with, and they are going to look in the east end of Toronto for me, and I have this agent looking in the west end of Toronto for me. Now that's pretty rare to have that happen. Generally, most agents and good agents can do the entire Toronto area. But what may happen is if someone, for instance, we just talked about cottages. If someone wants to buy a cottage that's an hour north of Toronto, they may want to have a representative that knows that area well up there. So if they're looking for a Toronto property plus a cottage property, they can have an agent in Toronto. So they sign a buyer rep with the Toronto agent, and that agent is looking after the Toronto district, and then they can have that agent looking up after their cottage search, looking up that district. So it's just really important that it's outlined properly in the agreements. But yeah, if it's just one property you're looking at, generally you find a good realtor and you sign the buyer rep, and they look after all your needs for the areas you're looking at.
Perfect. Yeah, that's less work for us as a client, because to have to look for many people to help you is exhausting. But here, what I can say by experience is that you Canadians, especially people like you, are very trustful. You know, here people are always trying to help, not on the contrary. So that's good information.
That's good. Like, yeah, I mean, in terms of how I look at it, I always it's a long game, not a short game. You never take shortcuts with people. You take care of people, and you will get taken care of in your career if you do that. And I truly believe in that.
Yes, I can say that too. So there is coming a very good question, because every Latin American people that is coming to Canada, we are worried about winter. That's the biggest issue.
We were looking, it was right. Winter was right on the cusp of
yeah. We had a great winter this year. It was warm winter.
Yeah. It was a bit of a weird one, but it's nice to see a blue sky and some water views behind you.
Yeah, I have it here.
Yeah.
This is thanks to Jack. Thank you, Jack. This was our peak. I wanted to live more surrounded by buildings, but my husband wanted more water. So we found the best match, because he can see the water, and I can see the buildings. So it is perfect.
Yeah, there's something calming about looking at the water, and then there's something vibrant and very urban about looking at buildings. So it's a nice.
This was great. So in winter, it is better to live in an apartment or in a house, considering the heat process, the snow piling.
Yes.
What is that? Snow piling. Oh my goodness! I cannot imagine myself dealing with snow. So what is better?
So it really does come down to personal preference in a way, and depends on each individual, their lifestyle requirements. In the wintertime, I'd say there definitely is more work when you live in a freehold home as opposed to a condo. You have certain responsibilities, as you just touched on, snow. So you have to shovel the snow from your driveway, from the front of your house, off your car. If if you don't have a garage.
Mhm.
In the summer too, you have to, rake the leaves, you have to clean your eavesdrops, you have to clean your exterior windows, things like that you don't have with a condo. So that's why in a condo you just pay a maintenance fee and everything is just covered for you. So it makes it pretty easy. So
Yeah.
and your personal preference, but overall I'd say it's definitely an easier lifestyle in a condo, especially in the winter, than a
Yes.
freehold.
I would say that too, because if you're coming here just a few people, if you don't have like 3 or 4 children, maybe it is good to live in a condo because it will make things easier, and maybe your next step will be a house. But now, if you have a building, if you have a condo, you can manage your stuff, get to know everything, and then make a better decision. So that's
I think you hit the nail on the head there, and that's what a lot of Torontonians do. It comes down to affordability too. So it's a little more affordable to purchase a condo in the city than a freehold home. So it's a good property to start out in. And then if you start having kids and expanding your family, that's when a backyard is maybe in need and more bedroom. Then that's when you jump to the freehold.
agree. So now we know that. Then, what documentation in generally is required to rent an apartment here in downtown Toronto?
Yeah, so when you want to put in a lease offer, generally landlords they want 3 things. They want to see a rental application. A rental application will give information about your previous residences, your references, your banking information, if you have cars, pets, all that information, just so they can get to know you a little bit more and who you are. Then they want to see your credit score. They want to find out. So that's where if someone is moving to Toronto, they from for instance Colombia, they wouldn't have credit. You just don't have Canada credit because you haven't been living here. So you just try and provide. You're trying to provide the best kind of package possible to show that you're reliable. The third thing that they're looking for is how you're going to pay for the unit. So whether that's a pay stub. It could be a letter from your HR. So you're just trying to show them that this is how I get paid. This is how you're going to get paid. Here's my references. Here's my credits, and you put it all together with a lease agreement, and they review it and make a decision on whether they want to have you as their tenant or not.
Yes, I know that's very, very important to say, because sometimes we don't know that we need that references, but we need to show what is our history back in our countries. So that's very important. Thanks God we had it, but but sometimes it is a very, very important tip or important thing to keep in mind when you are trying to rent an apartment here. Here, I believe in Canada in general, right?
Yes. Absolutely. And what you'll see, sometimes you'll have, for instance, international students come over to go to university, and they have really no references and no credit.
Mm-hmm.
And so occasionally you'll see tenants put up either 6 months of rent up front or full year. And that just tries to show a sign of strength. Basically, here's your money. You know you're going to get it. And we're doing it because we can't provide some of the other things that someone from Toronto may be able to.
Yeah, that's a possible solution. It's very expensive, of course, because 6 months is a lot. But it's a solution.
Yeah.
Then we got into one of the best questions. What range of prices for a rent to rent an apartment? For example, one studio with just 1 bedroom, or a bigger studio, a bigger apartment with 2 or 3 bedrooms. What's the range?
Again, there's some factors that go into that. Is how old is the building? Is it a newer building, an older building? What kind of amenities do they have? How big is it? Like, you can have a 2-bedroom that's 800 square feet, and you can also have a 2-bedroom that's 1,500 square feet. So a lot of factors go into it, but I would say for a 1-bedroom, you're generally looking at about $2,000 a month in Toronto, in central Toronto. That usually comes with a parking spot and a locker. For a 2-bedroom, I just rented one actually last week for $3,000. It was a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, right on Bay Street, which is right
Wow.
downtown.
Good price.
Yeah.
Now I know it is a good price.
Yeah. Yes. So the prices for rentals? It was crazy for the last 5 years here in Toronto, and we finally saw a little bit of leveling off recently, actually. And one of the reasons was there was some new Airbnb rules that were changed in Toronto. So Airbnb came out, I believe it was end of February, and said if you have an investment property, you are no longer able to Airbnb. It has to be a primary residence. So then naturally what happened was all those investors that had these units that they were Airbnb-ing, they had to either come out and sell the unit or put it out for a 1-year full lease. And so we saw a ton of listings come out, and naturally when you see that,
That's good.
there's more options. When there's more options, there's more leverage to the tenant.
Yeah, that's good for us because that's one of the questions that it's coming. Next, we can jump right into it because it is in my list. Why it is so expensive? Because the prices are very high. That's in everything, in houses, apartments, everything is very high. Why do you think that is happening, or that has been happening in Toronto?
I think there's a lot of reasons. It comes to desirability and the price. Ultimately, the price you pay for opportunity. Toronto's a really dynamic city. It attracts, I think we're on average 125 to 150,000 people are joining the GTA. When I say GTA, the Greater Toronto Area each year. And Toronto is the economic hub of Canada. There's like the Huffington Post recently cited Toronto as the fastest growing city in North America. Our tech business is booming. I'm sure.
Yeah, we're talking about
we were being called the Silicon Valley of the North. There's another big reason is we have fantastic schools here in Canada and specifically Toronto. University of Toronto is great. Ryerson is great. York University is great. So you see a lot of international students want to come over, get our education, and then once they're here, they have job opportunities. So they stay.
Yes, that's the best reason, I think.
Yeah. We have low unemployment rates. I mean, we have tons of real estate investors here. We have people choosing to put their money into real estate as opposed to other investment opportunities because of the growth that we've shown here. Even like little things like baby boomers they're living longer and staying in their family homes. And because of that, there's limited supply. So these homes won't go up for sale until until unfortunately they pass and their estate gets it and decides to sell it, because people get into their home and it's really hard to move around. It's really hard for some people based on either the income that they're getting to sell and then buy back into the market. So you just see them stay put, and that's their forever home. So there's lots of little factors. But and as I'm sure you can speak to now, it's just a fantastic place to live.
Oh yeah, totally.
You can get any food that you want. There's music festivals. There's TIFF. There's the big movie festival here. There's we have sport. We have Toronto Raptors, the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Just a really vibrant place to live, to be honest.
Yeah, and it's growing. Every corner you look around and you see a new construction. So even it is growing. So it's a vibrant city. I think that's the summarization of this this reason. So what is I already say that. This is very good. How to recognize a good realtor. for a bad or an unprofessional one? You will say your answer now. I will say mine. What do you think?
I mean, I think real estate is a 24/7 job. So I think someone that gets back to you promptly, especially in a city like Toronto where things happen very quickly, you can't have any lag time on things. If you want to put an offer forward and you contact your realtor, that paperwork has to get in ASAP, because then someone else could potentially put it in. So I think having
ASAP means as soon as possible.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
I should, yeah.
Yeah, it took me time to really know that. What is ASAP? Oh, okay.
And then I think kind of what I touched on a little bit before, I think someone that listens and actually gets to know the person that they are working with, it's a huge benefit. You can definitely weed out some of the listings that other realtors may send over or want to take them to, because they don't know them as well. But if you get to know them, you know what they're looking for. There's kind of a gut feeling that you ultimately get just from hearing feedback and being around people and seeing space. Yeah.
But Jack, it is common to see, because unfortunately in Latin America it's common. It's common to see a person that says that he or she are realtors, but they are not really realtors, or they can charge you with money and try to trick you, you know?
Interesting.
Something like that.
I wouldn't say that happens a lot here. When you go and book a showing to go see, for instance, a condo, the majority of condos in the city will ask you to show what's called it's your RICO license, and it means you're registered realtor under the Real Estate Council of Ontario. So you can only have that code, and it's actually an app you have on your phone if you are a verified realtor. So you are not access to show these units unless you show that to the front desk or the concierge. So someone that, if someone tried to do that, I think they'd be caught pretty quickly.
Yeah, and a realtor shouldn't ask you for money in advance.
Never.
Important. Yeah.
You'll see sort of scams like that happen over, for instance, like a Kijiji ad. Someone says they're going to rent a you, and then they want you to wire over the deposit before you get the keys or whatnot, and they don't meet you, and you've wired over the money. And so little things like that. Yeah. So never give money over.
Yeah, you don't have to do that. Well, I would say that it is very aggressive market. There are a lot of realtors, and sometimes they don't. It's not fighting the war, but they are competing very hard to get the clients, because there are a lot of realtors. Before meeting you, we really met 3 more, and we were like, why are so many? And we were even a little bit afraid about that until we met you. When we met you, it was just one day thing, but before we were like, why is this happening? So that's why I wanted to ask you and to say to people, please ask for credential and never give money in advance, or never, because you don't have to pay the realtor, because the owner of the unit are paying to the realtor. The only thing you need to do is to really get the feeling with the person, be sure if that person is reliable, and then go for it.
Absolutely.
And just pick one, please.
Yeah. Yes. You can also ask for past clients of the realtor. So if you're unsure, just say, can you send me 3 of your past clients that I can call and just ask about their experience with working with you? Something like that. If they don't have any past clients, then there's a red flag right there. So I think that's another thing you could in that.
And talking about that, how much could cost, for example, an apartment with let's talk about just one room, one den. The den is a space that you can Usually you can just put there a small office, but if it is bigger, as in my case, in my apartment, it is bigger, I could put there another room if I want. So how much would be to buy that? But the price of the apartment.
Oh, how much for an apartment? So for a 1 bedroom with a den and 1 bathroom, say around 600 square feet, you're generally looking at 600,000. I would say a good rule of thumb here in Toronto is $1,000 per square foot.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
So I mean, you higher end buildings, you can get up to 1,300 to 1,400 a square foot, even really high end 1,500 a square foot, and then you can get, for some buildings that aren't as high end, you can get down to 800 a square foot. But I would say generally in Toronto, for a newer building, you're right around the $1,000 per square foot.
Okay. Yeah. Well, guys, now you know. First, maybe you can rent and then think about buying. Okay. Well, Jack, this is everything about condos, houses, prices, all of that. Of course, I'm sure that everyone that is going to watch this are going to have more and more questions. But for that purpose, you will give me all the information to, well, I already have it, but but well, I will put here in the video everything to reach you, to be able to talk to you. Maybe you will be dealing with people like me that don't speak very good English, but I know that you will be able to manage that.
I do encourage that. Please do ask questions, and don't be scared. There's no silly questions. Honestly, ask anything about. I love talking real estate, and I really would enjoy connecting with all of you and answering and trying to just furnish you guys with as much information about the market here in Toronto and everything you guys are curious about.
Yeah, and for example, some of them want to know what is required to be a great realtor as you are. Is that a career? How can you reach that career?
Yes.
What do you need to do?
When I got my license 10 years ago, there's something called the Ontario Real Estate Association. It's like a college. You have to enroll, and then you have to pass 3 courses. Once you pass those courses, then you're licensed, and then you can go out and represent clients. Recently, they've moved that program to George Brown, which is a college here in Toronto, and it's done through them. So, but it's from my understanding, it's very similar still with the 3 courses just through George Brown. If you decided you wanted to do it quickly, you used to be able to get your license in like 6 to 8 months if you did the courses back to back. Yeah. That's good. That's very good information. Now, I will say there is a lot of people have gotten their license in Toronto. I think you mentioned that before. I think there's close to 50,000 realtors in the GTA right now.
Yeah.
But that's where it's important to be, as I said, work the long game, have a lot of pride in your work, and really take care of people, because I would say 10% of the agents do 90% of the work here in Toronto, and it's because they're trustworthy, they're good at what they do, and that's why they get referrals and repeat business.
Yeah, that's right. But my recommendation for all of you, please talk to Jack. He's the best. He has a great energy. He's always, as you see him, nice. He's a great person. He has a beautiful family. So girls, he's married and he has 2 kids, so he's not available for that.
That's right.
Girls, watch out, because most of the persons that watch my channel are girls. So please keep that in mind. And well, Jack, thank you so much for your time. It has been great talking to you again. We missed you. We're gonna be able to be more in touch with you after this situation. So thank you.
Yeah, as soon as it gets better out there and a little more safe, then we'll definitely we'll do dinner and tell Oswaldo I say hi, and we'll get him play baseball soon. And this was a lot of fun and a pleasure to be on.
Thank you, Jack. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Y eso fue todo, espero que se hayan divertido, que hayan disfrutado mucho de este video, que hayan aprendido mucho de Jack y bueno, se hayan reído con mi entrevista. Aquí vamos aprendiendo poco a poco. Quería hacerles esta entrevista con un canadiense, con una persona de acá, porque siempre es muy importante uno tener el punto de vista de la persona que vive en el país para que aprendamos mucho más y para que nuestra experiencia acá en Canadá o donde quiera que vivamos sea la mejor. Gracias por acompañarme. Por favor, no olviden suscribirse aquí a mi canal, darle a la campanita para que sean los primeros en accesar todos los contenidos que yo voy subiendo cada semana. Además, coméntenme qué les pareció. ¿Cómo estuvo esa entrevista con Jack? ¿Les quedaron más dudas? ¿Quieren saber otras cosas? ¿Quieren preguntarme a mí y yo le pregunto a él si no hablan inglés? ¿O van y de una le escriben a él y le preguntan? Coméntenme, díganme, ¿qué más quieren saber acá en mi canal? Que yo estoy para servirles y para informarles y compartir con ustedes todas mis experiencias. Además, compartan este video para que mi comunidad, esta comunidad en la que estamos todos, crezca cada día más y podamos sumar muchas más experiencias positivas aquí en este espacio virtual. Gracias y nos vemos en un próximo video.